Isyander.
And I'm Coda.
And today we are going to church, baby.
Again?
Yeah, again. We're continuing to go to church.
We're continuing to go to church.
I explained this to the Patreon already, but I need some divine intervention as I'm being grinded away by an insurance company currently. Can't name them, but man, is it something.
I would love to. I would love to just send a crowd of an angry mob at them.
I'll work it out. I have faith in me. However, I need to have faith in you guys because it's now time for a new poll. The options are Bloodthirsters, Keepers of Secrets,
Chaos,
Lords of Change,
Chaos,
and Great Unclean Ones.
Chaos.
And you vote by sounding off in the comments. Not one. 4 are going to make it. 1 won't make it.
That's not how math works.
Wait, 3 are going to make it. See what I mean? Yeah, it's a lot of work.
So I was just about to say that the Alpha Legion is none of these, but with all of this, you're like disproving that. Maybe they are one of them. I don't know.
One day we have a 5-option poll.
There's like a secret option. It's like a Starbucks secret menu we've got in the poll.
Oh, if there was only a way to do that.
No, it's just a poll option that's blank. Like there's no text, there's no image, it's nothing.
No, I think I figured out how I'm going to do the Alpha Legion poll, actually.
Yeah?
I think I just did. Thank you.
Worrying.
It'll be obvious. Kind of. But yeah.
It wasn't last time. I'm going to criticize you.
No.
It wasn't last time.
This time it'll be pretty obvious.
Okay.
You will see. But yeah, those are the options available to you. Sound off in the comments. 3 get made. 1 will probably get made in the future. And today, to buy you time to exercise your right to vote, we're going to church.
We're going to
Ecclesiarchy,
church again.
which means the losers bracket's going to be fully empty for once.
It's a time for us to repent. No, confession. We're gonna take confession.
The way I look at this is it's like preparing for all the chaos that's about to come.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, we are what's the word for when you there's a word for when you bless, when you make something sacred ground. Right?
Sanctify.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I think that's the word.
No, that is a word for it, but there's a different one I was fishing for. This is the con of having a bunch of them in your head. Sometimes.
Well, at this point, we're getting sanctimonious, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Either way. Yeah, we're just sanctifying the set before a whole lot of chaos rolls through.
Well, let's make sure it's the right God we're sanctifying with it before it becomes sacrosanct.
Well, this is a God who didn't want it. Because you can't talk about the Ecclesiarchy without mentioning
Big E.
Lorgar, actually.
Never mind.
Who is this does still tie into Big E. You're still right. It's just 1
it's
degree.
that story.
Yeah.
It's the time that
Big E was not a great dad.
Had Lorgar's knees broken for saying his dad was pretty great.
Yeah, his dad was pretty great. This it's hard to pin blame on whose fault this is, because from a certain angle, this is Big E's fault.
The D, all of the above.
From a certain angle, this is Lorgar's fault.
I feel like if we put this on Reddit, Am I the Asshole, it would be in everyone's shit here.
Well, now I have that would be fun to create a burner account and just ask about that very specific 40K incident, but like just tweak just enough.
If you see on r/ what is it, AITA? Yeah, because it's the acronym.
Yeah,
or is it?
No, that's the one. I think that's the one.
No, because there's a bit about this, because the acronym one is not the real one, because it actually is r/I am the asshole, if I remember correctly.
Sure, we're okay. Yeah,
I can't remember.
That's data to have in your head.
It's been so long since I've touched Reddit, dude.
So long. Go on.
It's been a while. Anyway, if you see that pop up on there,
it's us.
It wasn't us.
Disguise. But yeah, from a certain angle, it could even be like Gilliman's fault. If you really want to look at it, Chaos had a hand
for
in this.
Holding Lorgar down while his dad broke Lorgar's ankles.
Yeah.
Ankles,
so
kneecaps.
We're gonna start with whose fault. Who started this chain of dominoes? I will present most of the dominoes to you guys, and you can decide who exactly is the one to blame here.
Is the head of this chain of dominoes Erebus?
No, it's Big E.
Oh, okay.
No, this is Big E's fault, because I always call him this because it is the simplest way to describe his philosophy, and also it's very crude, and I derive a lot of joy from it. He's a turbo atheist.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I think I've heard that that pseudonym, or not pseudonym, title given to him by other people
Yeah,
as well?
no, 'cause
That's just kind of generally accepted. Like
he's a turbo.
He's a turbo atheist.
He's beyond the realm of like I believe in nothing. He's actively against everything.
yeah, get this man a big fedora immediately.
Yeah, he sees faith as a plague that has infected most of humanity. And if we're going to do this whole manifest destiny thing across the stars, then you need to take your fate into your own hands. There's nothing external. There's no superstition that's going to save you. You just got to get up and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Not a bad philosophy, honestly. You know, you look at it from some angles, I kind of see the rationale.
See,
It falls apart. I'll explain why later.
oh yeah, because we start doing like the USSR. Like, okay, the only religion you should have is the state at some point.
Yeah.
And people take it way too far.
Yes, they do. That is the public reason behind his actions, you know? And when he conquered Earth, one of the first things he did was burn churches to the ground. Like, across the board, by the way. He
yeah.
didn't just go look for anything with a cross on it. He was going after everything. Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, even Buddhists weren't spared.
Funny.
Which, who's mad at Buddhists? Like, I'm sure there will be a top comment that lets me know of some tragedy currently going on that I'm somehow missing.
That we're just not privy to.
That is, yeah, exactly.
This is so funny to see what different sci-fi does with like human religions.
Yeah.
Because like Battletech, you know, every religion seems to go through 5 different reformations over the course of another 1,000 years.
Believable.
And in like Dune, they like Pokemon fusion.
What do you mean? Like all religions become like
Some of them coagulate into one.
So instead of
like Catholicism fuses with a I can't remember what Catholicism, but it fuses
I
with
can
a
see how
bunch.
the Abrahamic religions do it because like the core book is very
it's wild.
similar.
No, it's wild. Islam fuses with Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dune's weird.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 40K doesn't have that problem because they're just all gone by Big E's hand. Now, that is the reasoning, like I said, everyone got to know as to why we're burning all these churches to the ground. You know, this man was running around claiming that this is the imperial truth, and this is why I am currently traipsing around stomping mosques on. You know, like that is the PR spin he was giving everyone. This is a way to push humanity further, for us to accept science and reason and become what we have always meant to be. In reality,
This does sound like r/atheist.
right? It really does.
Get this man a fedora and a katana immediately.
Well, he already had a flaming sword, so he just really needs the fedora.
Curve the blade, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he could have made it look like anything. His appearance is very inconsistent. So maybe, possibly.
But the version we see in Gilliman's hand is
It's like a broadsword.
Yeah. Maybe we should katanify it.
I'm sure somebody's drawn it.
Somebody has to.
100%. But behind the scenes, in reality, he was very, very certain that chaos is a real thing that is probably just like deity level. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's bordering on it for all intents and purposes in his mind anyway at the time. So he looks at most religion and sees it as an easy in for chaos to just kind of sneak in and start twisting stuff left, right, and center.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to give them literally any ins.
And so he thinks the best way to deal with chaos is to starve them of worship altogether, which not a wrong theory.
Yeah.
There's some solid grounding on that. We've discussed this in the Eldar episode and the Warp episode. It doesn't work as good as he hoped.
Yeah.
Because
they still end up cropping up still.
Yeah, because all you've done is you've created a vacuum.
Yeah.
And on top of creating a vacuum for them to fill, by pushing no religion at all whatsoever, nobody's ready for when an actual demon apparates in front of them. Like, I'm talking you are fighting, and then a real, like, proper red horned demon just
arrives. You see, like, a big Satan, and that's just that.
Yep.
You see, what Biggie should have done is he should have introduced the entire Imperium to the good word of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I mean, honestly, the Eldar,
redirect some of that worship.
that's what the Eldar did. But they had a whole pantheon for it to like
Mm-hmm.
redirect. And even then, they missed the spot.
Yeah.
They missed the spot.
Thinking about it, though, Jesus was like a nice dude, so I don't know what...
He wouldn't cover most of the chaos bases.
Yeah, no.
He wouldn't cover... you could argue he could...
The one time he went wild in... I can't remember what Jewish temples are called. I think they literally just called temples. The one that was selling, being used as a marketplace, and he immediately went on like a flying rage to bash down all of the markets.
This is when I get to use the years of Sunday school I have in here. It's better than that in the Bible.
Really?
Because he doesn't immediately fly into a rage, if I remember correctly. He takes the time to braid a whip. He's certain he's mad about this.
So that's some corn redirection right there.
It is not immediate and swift fury. He goes off
He thinks
to make
about it.
the arm
This is
needed for this.
premeditated.
Yes, and then he comes to the same conclusion of, nah, this can't fly. This cannot be the way this is supposed to be. You cannot be selling merch in a church. What is this?
Church merch.
And so, yeah, no, it's deliberate.
Yeah.
He's deliberately very angry about that.
But
And
yeah,
rightfully so.
we get some corn redirection right then and there.
No, because again, that's more like righteous fury.
Fair enough.
Which,
But it's still fury.
could each chaos god has like a more of a light side to them. So
yeah.
I could see it. I don't think it covers everything though.
No, it doesn't.
You definitely need I feel like you need a pantheon.
I don't know how he'd steal any worship from Slanesh. I'll be dead honest.
That's why I say you need a pantheon.
Yeah.
You need a full
You really
pantheon.
do need a full pantheon to get worship out of every one of the
and
Chaos
make sure
God's
it's being
pockets.
redirected appropriately.
Yeah.
But that is not what Big E thought at all at the time. He did not think to create a full pantheon to starve them. He was just like, that's
Just don't believe in any of them.
Yep.
Just don't know, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. You're good to go, right?
Yep, exactly. Which
That
means
works all of the time, 100% of the time.
it means that nobody's ready for when demons start arriving, and nobody's ready for demonic corruption because it's not possible.
So it only works 100% of the time, some of the time.
Some of the time, and what's worse is this man is running around. Like I said, he's just traipsing around. Shoot, I've used churches, I've used mosques, I've used Buddhist temples. I can't think of any more religious buildings. See? No, Mormons, they call it temples.
What?
See? I'm kind of fresh out here. Anyway.
What do the Hindu call their temples? Or are they just temples?
I think temples still.
Okay, but that's the anglicization.
Oh, I mean, yeah, true. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? But moral of the story is he's running around. Anything vaguely religious, he's taking it out in the most religious way possible.
Yeah.
I want you to know, this man isn't merely walking up to a church, just dumping gasoline, going doo-doo-doo-doo, and then like lighting a match and throwing it in.
No, he's deliberately
There's like a ray of
stomping.
light
Yeah.
on them, which, as you can imagine, is a little counterproductive, no?
Yeah, because people see that and they go, well, maybe I was wrong, but something's right.
Something's clearly right. And even if you're not seeing it when he's immediately burning your church down, you do see it as he's doing his whole great crusade. I mean, look at most bits of art we have of the guy.
Yeah.
Massive claw in hand, lightning arcing all around him, sword ablaze. Like, to most people who see that,
You're appearing very religious.
I'm looking at least a demigod.
Yeah. There is some form of like very high spiritual energy in you that is telling me, again, I might be wrong, but something out there is right.
Exactly. And so the funniest thing too is Big E's appearance is horrifically inconsistent. It's a choice to look that menacing,
Yeah.
which is not a bright choice when you consider all the things he's doing.
Oh, he's literally going through every single religious stereotype he possibly can.
Yep. I mean,
Is this on purpose or is he just not thinking?
part of this is on purpose because whenever you conquer a place, right, there will always be rebellions to do. You good there?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
like bumping everything right now.
Yeah. Whenever you conquer a place, there'll always be rebellions afterwards, rightfully so, because I like things the way they were. I don't know who you are, and I didn't ask to be conquered. Get out.
Yeah.
You know? But when you absolutely roll something with just a massive gap between you and them, to a point where it's less of an invading force has taken us over and more something divine has showed up.
Let's go back to the cargo cult analogy for just a second here. Like, a bunch of the, untouched, barely communicated with islands out in the Pacific that suddenly had a U.S. Air Force base on them.
Yeah.
At this point, something about this looks divine, and, they're raining cargo and resources from the sky. I'm going to build an effigy of a plane to help I get cargo now.
Exactly. So part of this is it does actually kind of help the Great Crusade keep going because they're not dealing with like constant rebellions behind you.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be real, the guy showed up with 10,000 golden men, taller than I've ever seen, and was sending waves of fire forth.
You're not just dealing with like an overwhelming force and loyalty. You're dealing with righteous fury again.
Yeah. And so that's part of why he appeared the way he did. It didn't change the fact that it's a problem.
Yeah, at that point, you look like a god, which is the thing you're trying to stop from happening. But like, buddy, you should have thought about that.
These are the stress lines that exist in the Imperium.
Yep.
He was willing to accept these stress lines for the most bit. Until the very real thing that he should have seen coming happened of one of his kids fell for it. It's bad enough when the general populace begins to believe you're a god, but Primarchs are very, very competent.
Yeah.
And so when one of them starts believing you're a god...
Especially since you deliberately put some weird warp shit in them. They're going to appear as demigods, and if one of the demigods says, hey, my dad is a god, people are going to start believing them.
Yeah.
They work as a wonderful force multiplier for religiosity.
And of all of them, Lorgar, who was always so good at this.
Yeah, no. His superpower of being, like, I write good.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. We haven't covered Lorgar's book very much, which is a shame. I want to very badly.
Yeah, we need to do a Lorgar episode. We have yet to find a church to rent out, though.
But
though somebody has mentioned on one of our streams that we host for our Legion on patreon.com/Isyander and Coda, that, you know, they might know a guy. A couple of people might know a guy. I'm sure we could find a church.
Oh, I'm certain of it.
Now, whether or not they're okay with
with Lorgar being discussed within their four walls is a different story.
Hey, Big G, are you okay with this for a second?
Yeah. I mean, I like to think God has a sense of humor. Otherwise, why would he put it in us?
Yeah.
That's the way I like to look at it. Plus, you look at the way things shake out sometimes, you're like, clearly,
whatever's up there has to have a sense of humor.
Somebody's chuckling about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't covered him or his book. But if it wasn't for Gilliman's tendency to inflate numbers, I'm very certain that the Laetitia Divinica would be the bestseller in the Imperium.
Yeah.
Period. I think the only reason the Codex Astartes is maybe a millimeter higher is it's required reading for every space marine chapter.
Gilliman didn't have his knees broken over it.
Well, no, the fun fact, it still kind of exists.
Really?
Okay, so.
Actually, didn't he write it after Big E went,
No, he wrote it before.
Oh.
But here's the thing. The book itself, as is, does not exist anymore. However, the ideas within the book
still exist,
very much so still alive. So in a way, yeah, I would say it's probably one of the best-selling tomes in the Imperium. And when you hear its opening sentence, you will see kind of why everything's shaken out the way it has.
How it got so many people?
You can get a lot from the beginning of a book, especially a religious book. They tend to have a lot of gravity to their beginning.
No, right? The start and the end are some of the most powerful tools in any author's works.
Exactly. Lorgar, being the great writer that he is, opens with, "Rejoice, for I bring glorious news. God walks among us."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And immediately some people heard that and went,
of course he does.
Where?
Yeah, God
lead me in the right direction.
Not I can lead you to the Savior. He's here now today.
Send me his location. Can I have a chat?
Yeah. Big E saw one print of this and went, this cannot be. This cannot run for any reason.
The fedora slowly just drifts onto his forehead as he moves immediately over to Monarchia.
Yep. And so a terrible thing happens to Lorgar with Gilliman's assistance. This kind of pushes him towards chaos, which starts a whole heresy, which does not shake out well for any party involved.
No, it seems like everybody lost here, yeah.
Yeah.
Except for chaos, maybe.
I mean, chaos generally.
Yeah.
But even then, one could argue they could have won.
Yeah. They could have just hard won right there.
I would say chaos just didn't lose.
Yeah. Yeah. But did the Imperium just not lose either?
I'd argue the Imperium proper lost.
I think the Imperium proper lost.
The Imperium lost. Chaos didn't lose. That's all I can say about that.
They didn't win, but they didn't lose. The Imperium lost. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think that's the shakeout there.
Yeah.
Like if we instead of putting loss victory on like a binary thing, it's a bimodal scale.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little bit like Imperium win, Chaos win. We're a little bit here.
Yeah, I would say definitely landed like right there.
Yeah, it's like on the quarter of a sequence. It's not in the middle.
And the main thing about it is now the Emperor is interred in a massive mountainous CPAP machine. Effectively, he can't stop anything that's coming.
Imagine we turn Everest into a CPAP machine. That's just what we've got going on here.
Yeah, and so
which is ironic because of the low oxygen up there.
Well, no, he's like it's the size of they've hollowed. I was
making a stupid joke.
Yeah. They've hollowed out mountains for it. The Golden Throne's a whole thing. It's its own episode. It's like a city unto itself. But yeah,
like a mega city. If it's the size of Everest, that's a huge city.
It's a lot. It's. I think he leveled the Himalayas.
The whole Himalayas?
Not the topic for today at all.
What about the pink salt?
I think he just
he mined out so much pink salt the Imperium would be set for ages.
No, I think he just leveled it if I remember correctly.
Well, that's a shame. That's a waste of pink salt.
Could be wrong, but off the top of the dome it feels like it's flat.
Those Costco chips, no.
Anyway,
he stops the production of those specific Himalayan pink salt Costco chips?
Anyway,
no.
He's interred in the Golden Throne.
I'm moving to chaos immediately.
Yeah.
Over this
and
news.
Everybody moves to the Emperor being god over that news, actually.
Wow. Am I the only one who likes the Himalayan Kirkland signature Himalayan pink salt chips?
Yep, pretty much.
Damn.
Pretty much. He...
I don't think they're Kirkland signature. I think Costco just carries them.
Either way, the imperial cult is now here, and the ecclesiarchy proper is starting to form under some very basic beliefs that you can probably infer at this point, right? Mm-hmm. The emperor once walked among men, but he is, and always has been, a god.
And he's the
emperor is the one true god, regardless of what past faiths you may have worshipped, or humanity may have worshipped, to purge the heretic, beware the psyker and mutant, and abhor the alien. And every human being has a place within the emperor's divine order to unquestionably obey the authority of the imperial government and one's superiors. That is a creed of their faith. Listen to your boss.
Yeah.
God said so. And then lastly, there's a couple more things being added. It's like the Imperium slides into horrible, horrible times.
Yeah.
That there is an end times where the emperor will get up and complete whatever work he started. That last one's a little bit cope if you
yeah. Well, that
sounds like cope, but then there's that whole crack that's opened up across the galaxy, and he's doing a lot more stuff now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So
things could just continue to get wild on the Big E front.
And that's kind of where the beliefs coalesced at the end. Of course, right after Big E died, there were all kinds of weird mishmash beliefs, little cults, little sects.
I'd imagine there was a little bit of fracturing, yeah, just because things are getting weird.
Yeah, and some people joined for very many different reasons. A lot of them, frankly, were because of the heresy.
Yeah.
Because you were either caught on Horus's warpath, which is not going to be good for you.
Or you were with Horus.
No. You're the caught on Horus's warpath. If you're with Horus, you died.
Oh.
Like this, you're not switching, you know? So you're either caught on the warpath of that or caught defending against that. And either way, it's a deeply traumatic thing.
Yeah.
Which kind of leaves you wanting for something divine to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Many, many planets are sent back to the Stone Age. Many, many planets are still rebuilding. Some haven't fully gone back to the way they were pre-heresy. Several just got lost.
Yeah.
So there are billions of people who are truly like meaningless, lost, and have...
I'd imagine there's like a couple like just random like Armageddon worlds that are just living out the story of the road because
is what it is.
It is what it is.
The heresy's effects are terrible.
Yeah.
And so it kind of sets the perfect stage for these beliefs to really take root and begin spreading, which is kind of helped by the fact that a lot of veterans from the heresy kind of go forth spreading this message too.
Yeah.
Because he can deny it all he wants. Read almost any portion of the heresy where combat is involved, and it's two gods duking it out.
Yeah.
Like, go back and watch was it the Space Wolves episode where we talked about? Yeah, it was the Space Wolves episode.
Yeah, Magnus cracking the sky.
Yeah, Magnus versus Space. You look at that as a mortal man, these are gods fighting.
Yeah, these are gods fighting.
These are gods duking it out, and I'm stuck in the middle of it, you know?
And like to the Primarchs, or maybe even a Space Marine, it's just like, nope, that's kind of normal-ish.
Even though the Space Marines, they're a little like, woof.
Oof. These are on a different level.
There's a couple of Space Marines who believe in this too. Not many.
The Primarchs are just, I'm kind of just a guy.
I can do this.
I am a guy with some weird warpy things happening, and like a lot of genetic modification. But like, I'm not a god.
Yeah. And so like, the sermons kind of write themselves post-heresy, especially with how it ended with the Emperor making the ultimate sacrifice and interring himself upon the golden throne to save all of humanity, being a light in the unending dark. Like, you see what the preachers are getting up to. You
know, for being a turbo-atheist, he really made himself out to be a huge Jesus allegory.
I have to wonder if it's an intentional, like, this can't have been how he wanted it to shake out.
No. With how, again, we could have seen this guy writing out posts on r/atheism. There's no way this is what he wanted.
But this is now the hand he's been dealt.
But this is now where he's at.
It.
Yeah.
There's a veteran of the Horus heresy named Photiticus who kind of makes it his life's mission to preach about the horrors he's seen and how the Emperor is very clearly a god, which, by the way, you know the veterans' hats? Imagine the heresy one. Like, that has to be the same as like the World War II hat, where it's just like, woof.
I would love to sell that as merch, but I have to know somebody would wear that, and like an actual veteran would like
how to sell that respectfully.
No, we couldn't do it. I
think you have to donate.
Yeah,
you have to donate proceeds.
Yeah, no,
that's why you do it. I think it's cool. I think it's funny, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd wear it, but also I'd feel like Catholic guilt. Because it's not stolen valor per se, but it's
in a weird place.
It's in a weird place where
because nobody fought in the heresy, but like also if we're making this in the style, it's like somebody did fight in Nam.
Plus, I like donating to veterans because in the U.S. there are far too many horror stories of people who fight for freedom and then come back home and are treated like, I don't like using expletives, but it upsets me greatly.
I'm not gonna give all of the details, but I did used to work with a guy who was a medic in the army, and he watched like several of his buddies go down in a helicopter crash.
Not service related though. Trauma's not service related.
He was only like 3 or 4 years older than us. The VA hit his PTSD with not service related. And the GI bill that he got was barely enough to cover his apartment.
See, that's why I would like to donate.
Yeah.
Because stories like that are all too common in the US. I kind of don't give a care. Like, you can dislike the military all you want. That's fine. But like the veterans, I feel like kind of just get, for lack of a better term, the end of every stick. And I don't know if they deserve it. Yeah, so if we ever were to do that hat, which I kind of really want to do that hat now, I would definitely, because
50% of the
it's a social good for a hard hat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's everything you want out of a hat. What more could you ask for? But yeah, the guy wearing that hat, pretty much. That was a side tangent.
I'm so sorry.
I know, it's okay. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
A guy wearing that hat started preaching, and people will listen to that. People will stop and listen because you've seen it. You've been there. And especially when you consider this guy lived for 120 years. By the time he died, there were billions who now believed in this imperial faith. And it was just growing day by day by day. We don't know the guy's actual name. Photiticus wasn't his real name.
Yeah.
It was chosen as a word from a long dead forgotten tongue that means prophet.
It's Latin, isn't it?
It's Latin.
It's Latin.
It's Latin for prophet, yeah.
Yep.
They're on the nose sometimes. What can I say?
No, again, to quote Spaceballs, they're not on their nose. They're up it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how the first couple of billion go. After that, it takes about 2 millennia or so, give or take, for us to get to the full-fledged state religion. At this point, you throw a rock at 3 people, 2 of them believe the emperor is a god. Statistically speaking.
And the one that isn't has like the equivalent of a CIA agent just like standing outside his door ready to shoot him in the head.
Not yet.
Wait, really?
It's only 2 and 3. It's not the state religion yet.
It's just common.
It's common enough to now be the state religion. At this point, they've absorbed every other minor cult that had kind of weird tweaks on the same beliefs, and it's become one homogenous religion.
We've gone from the Greek pantheon as it was back in the ancient Greek days to the Greek pantheon as it is now.
Yeah. The Adeptus Mechanicus and Space Marines don't believe, but most people do at this point.
Well, the omnissiah is
they have their own stuff going on. So,
isn't he?
It's complicated. We need to cover their faith.
The Holy Trinity, but Warhammer 40k.
Kind of. And so at this point,
both the omnissiah and not 2 distinct beings, and yet the same
this
one.
Man will never beat the divine allegations. That's what I'm going to say.
Nope.
And so at this point, enough people believe that you kind of need to give them a title and recognize them, so they become the Adeptus Ministorum, otherwise known as the Ecclesiarchy, and they now have a seat at the High Lords. At this point, they've won. It's over because this is when a CIA agent will.
Yeah, now they have they're part of the regulatory body.
Yeah, and not just any part of the regulatory body, but they are the voice of God, which means they have a lot more sway. They have a disproportionate amount of sway.
Because not only do they have a seat at the table, but everybody else better believe the same thing as I do. Otherwise, I do have CIA agents.
Yep, and so they kind of grew their own personal military. They were raising tithes left, right, and center. They were starting wars left, right, and center. It got really bad for a little bit there. Look at the video on the Age of Apostasy and Goj Vandire. It gets grim fast.
Very bad.
There's a reason it's called the Reign of Blood. It was not a good time to be a mortal man. And
I've just noticed the play on words there.
What?
The Reign of Blood.
Yeah. Did you?
No.
We've mentioned this like 30 times at this point.
Yeah, but I've had that divided by 10 concussions at this point, so.
Sure.
Yep.
Why not? But yeah, it is our best and brightest, you know.
I'm just a little guy.
I'm sure
with
you
a tiny little crunched and bruised brain.
Little guy, 6'2". Okay, whatever.
6'1.5".
Only mortal man I know who underrates their height. Every other guy I know overrates it.
I don't want to be lied about. Like, I'm not 6'2". I'm 6'1.5".
The funniest thing I've ever seen is when a 6 foot tape measure was pulled out at a party, and the wheat from the chaff. I don't
want to be a Drake type where my height is overrated. So you see the statistic of my height online and go, "Oh,
is Drake short?"
And then you see me in his Wikipedia listing says 6'2". He's 5'11".
Okay, sure, why not?
I think actually he's like 5'10", but I could be wrong.
Okay, sure, why not? I didn't know that.
Well,
oh yeah, you may hear explosions in the background. That's just this is being recorded around the 4th.
Yeah, this is freedom.
Yeah. Freedom. Freedom.
Yeah. So sorry, Brit Bongs. It's freedom time. Yeah, you want some tea?
Anyway,
it's okay. We love our UK audience.
We do have quite a few in the UK.
Yeah,
actually, quite a few. A lot of the it's kind of like a coin flip.
Yeah,
almost a perfect 50-50. So,
I mean, to be fair, it is a British IP we cover for our job.
Though to be entirely fair, everyone but the Brits pretty much will have an Independence Day from the Brits at some point.
Yep.
So maybe not all of them light the night sky on fire like we do, but yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe we should like spread.
I don't remember what percentage of countries have an Independence Day thanks to the UK, but it's a lot. I don't know what the odds are on a coin flip, but it's substantial.
I mean, we have July 4th, and everybody else has.
I don't remember. There's a statistic about how many days it is before another Independence Day somewhere in the world.
I'd imagine it's probably about 45.
Actually, I'd wager less.
Real?
I think less.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will tell me.
They did colonize a lot of African territories.
Yeah, just a lot. The sun didn't set, dude. It was a lot more than just Africa.
India. They had
Australia.
China, Australia. Actually, hold on. I thought they're still I thought Australia is still friendly with Britain.
Yeah, but still. It was a colony.
Australians, I summon you for a question. Do you have an Independence Day?
I'm sure they do. Don't Canadians do, right?
Do they?
Do Canadians, because that's the deciding factor.
Oh, yeah. Also, Canadians, we summon you as well. Do you have an Independence Day?
New Zealand, too.
That one I can believe they have an Independence Day.
I believe they're still part of the Commonwealth. So.
Are they?
Yeah, so they may not have an Independence Day, actually.
Yes, but I've heard that native New Zealanders are none too pleased with the UK right now.
I can't even begin to speak on that. I do not know about.
Yeah.
I would love to learn, but I don't know about that.
I've heard. I could be wrong.
The issues that they have. I wouldn't be surprised. Is what it is. But yeah, the Reign of Blood was bad. It was not very good at the time. It was enough that most people went, maybe we should rethink this whole state church that has its own military, that can levy taxes, that can declare wars, and is technically the most important seat in the entire High Lords, and can eat other High Lords' seats. Maybe we shouldn't have that much all in one place.
Brother, I have recovered ancient forgotten knowledge from a man named Thomas Hobbes and his buddy John Locke. They said this thing about the separation of the church and state. I don't know how it took us around 40,000 years to refigure that part out, but...
Honestly, their stuff probably didn't make it. Their work probably just didn't make it.
Yeah.
Think about it. This is 40,000
years in the future. There's no way that survived. Nope.
Did not make it.
No.
It is you experience this very often when you read like ancient texts where you will remember
the ancient texts.
No, you'll remember we have always been the same. Like I will go back and read like Marcus Aurelius, and he has, I kid you not, he has genuine tips for when you feel like not getting out of bed.
Yeah, the anti-bedrot tips.
And it's just so funny to see the same problems being suffered by humanity. Thousands of years apart.
Listen, I know a lot of people think Stoicism is my mom told me to go do the dishes and I ignored her. Stoicism. Thank you, Marcus Aurelius. And like, that's not actually Stoicism. No. But like, no, his actual philosophy, really good. What it is. Just the it is what it is philosophy. Do what you can with what you have.
No, it's very good. But yeah, that stuff did not make it into the future. I promise you that.
I was going to mention the we have always been the same, but this one's a little bit sillier. It's like a piece of parchment from like, I think it's like from year 500 or something. And it's just like an inkwell spill onto this parchment, a bunch of like cat footprints, and just the text in Latin, just like the cat.
Yeah. Or like all the was here's that you will find in random hard to reach areas carved in. Like we've always been the same.
We've literally always been the same.
Yeah. And so that's the most believable part of 40K, that we will have learned a problem, have fixed this problem, and let it get wildly out of hand again.
The one guy.
Wow.
That's some.
Dang. Those are big.
Buddy, did you not fire those off yesterday?
I'm so... Are those going to make it through?
Those definitely are going to make it through.
Well, you see what I mean? We kind of ignite the night sky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you done?
I kind of want to go outside. That's one of my neighbors. Okay. What is the line between bomb and firework? I don't know. Go on.
I was going to talk...
Sorry, go on.
I was going to talk about the one guy from ancient Mesopotamia who sold someone very bad bronze.
Oh, yes, it was left a bad review.
And was left a bad review. No, it was a complaint. He was filed a complaint by Stone.
Yeah.
And so, like, the knowledge of that man peaks to, like, maybe a couple hundred people back then, troughs, 0 people for like several thousand years. And now there's an Instagram account with like, I think it's like 3 million followers that's just memes about this one guy and his bad bronze.
Is it really?
Yes.
I hope there's an afterlife, because if there is,
if there is, he's looking down at an Instagram account like, what the f***? That's the only thing I'm known for?
One bad bronze order and 50 years of good bronze making, and this is what I'm remembered for? Reincarnate me right now. Can you imagine, by the way, if he was pretty much like, he did actually bat pretty solid most of his life.
But he just had that one bad
bronze order, yeah. But yeah, that is the thing I love the most about 40K is the very... Yeah, of course we'd forget that. Yeah, of course we need to learn that lesson again.
It's been 40,000 years.
Yeah, and so of course they had to learn that lesson again, and they had to reform the church again, curbing a lot of its power. Maybe you shouldn't give the church so much money that they can raise an army of people with golden las guns. Maybe that's a bit too much funding.
And we're not talking about like the weird kind of like not gold that the custodians use. We're talking actual gold.
Yeah. You'll put up the picture of Quavo's stupid gun again. I love that picture. It is the worst use of money I've ever seen.
Is it a Glock or is it an AK?
Stupid is the answer. It wasn't bought for real gun purposes.
Yeah, it was bought to...
It wasn't bought for hunting or home defense. It was just
it's got like a chainsaw on it too.
Yeah.
The man built
That's basically what the Ecclesiarchy was running around with.
The budget version of the Lancer from Gears of War.
Yeah, the Ecclesiarchy... A lot had to be rethunk. They did still get to keep a basic military, just not one quite as large as what they had during that time period.
They've got just the Sisters of Battle now, right?
Yeah, just the carve out was made that they can no longer have men at arms, and like it's
said nothing about women.
It used to be just like, oh wow, that's a weird loophole that everyone forgot about, right? Because 40K was written with the end point known.
Yeah.
But not really.
The middle points have kind of been drawn out over the last 40 years.
The Primarchs weren't Primarchs, they were just exceptional heroes, if I remember correctly. Most Space Marines didn't go through the intensive surgeries that we have today. They were just augmented, generally speaking. And like the Sisters of Battle existed, but like why if they can't have a military? You know? But they did a pretty good retcon around it where it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek situation. Yeah. Where everyone knew this is a stupid carve-out, but also the Sisters of Battle are what got us...
They proved their loyalty towards the ends there when they're like, wait a minute, Goj has been lying to us this entire time? And then immediately moved to chop his head off.
Yeah, and so they kind of are what solved this problem, and were a big part of it.
So, like, letting them continue to exist as the organization they are...
It's not hurting too many people.
Yeah.
So the Sisters of Battle were allowed to continue in their... Kind of only, like, they've only gotten better after that.
Yeah.
They've gotten more orders, they've gotten a larger role. This is a big part of how the Ecclesiarchy exists today, is they are... present in every facet of your life. When you get your check back, you have federal taxes, local taxes, and church taxes.
You have your tithes taken out of your paycheck.
Those are the 3 line items you'll see. No, not line items. 3 categories you'll see.
You get you do a direct deposit with your workplace, and there's already like a tithe withholding.
Yeah, exactly. They also do hold sermons on several planets all the time. They upkeep massive cathedrals on most planets. They run most of the orphanages in the Imperium, as well as a lot of the healthcare in the Imperium too, which is why it's just kind of one of the jobs of the Sisters of Battle. You will see them kind of being battlefield medics.
Yeah.
Which is why...
Being a Nurse Joy with a big red cross on their forehead.
Which is kind of why guardsmen like them.
Hat.
Not only because they're there
in the forehead area. Sorry, I'm like...
People get the picture.
Words.
Yeah. Not only will they be in there helping them deal with actual battlefield wounds, but also because they're in the thick of it with them. No ifs, ands, or buts. A demon arrives, they didn't start running. In fact, they started running forwards faster than I did.
They're in the thick of it, and they're going to make sure everyone knows.
Yeah. Anyway.
You're welcome.
No. And then this is kind of the carrot that they wield, while also keeping the massive stick of we burn people at the stake on the daily.
Yeah.
So not only will we help you? Schools, they also run too. So they will feed you, they will clothe you, they will treat your
They've
wounds.
basically taken over the job of like the Salvation Army.
But if they were indoctrinating you every second you were in there. You will see them in almost every single Imperial ship as they will be conducting missions. Because after we level a place, we got to show them who the new god is, or the correct god is.
Yeah.
And so they're... You cannot live an Imperial life without bumping into them. This is not like Space Marines where you will never see them. Oh no, you are very keenly aware of these guys.
Because at the end of the day, it's still the church.
Yeah.
You can run 5 blocks and find another church.
No, it's more like you can hear them through every speaker. It's the same church no matter what.
So this is more like mosque vibes where they've got the town announcements going on.
If I remember correctly, it's prayers you hear during the time of prayer. I don't think it's Arabic announcements.
No. Okay, I wasn't going. This is like a town crier at the top of the mosque.
Habibi has lost his cat. Just being announced at full volume. Really? No, I'm fairly certain it's prayers that they're doing.
Please return Habibi's cat. Mashallah.
Yeah, I don't think you're using that right. But go on.
No, I'm not. Well, no, I thought that was like in the name of God.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know the limits of my knowledge.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I think I know Alhamdulillah, that's it.
No, that one's in the name of God. And now I'm getting my phrases together.
Go on.
No, but like I thought they would cry out times of prayer from the I can't remember what it's called, but the tower above a mosque.
There are prayers. It's just prayers going out. Or verses?
No, I swear to God, it's a call to like it's a call to come to prayer, because there's like prayers during the day that you will go into the mosque.
I know, and what they're doing is they're broadcasting that as well as like it's basically like a sermon going.
I thought it was just a call to, hey, come on, it's time.
I don't know. But the basic premise is very similar, except probably worse. Probably involving a skull floating around your head.
There's a servo skull running through the streets, going, "It's time to come to the."
No, it's not. No, it's not time. It's just praying.
No,
and you can hear it very loudly.
Yeah.
They also have auto preachers running around, howling at the top of it. You will always interact with them.
It's like
you cannot miss them.
It's like a Japanese mall, except instead of playing 5 different jingles at the same time, it's like different sermons from different parts of Laetitia Divinicus.
Yep. Well, again, not that book, because it was written by Lorgar. Just cribbing a lot of, basically all of that.
Some of the same phrases.
Yeah,
it's like they took the Laetitia Divinicus and they like wrote a new title on like a composition book paper, and they cut it out and taped it right over the Laetitia Divinicus title.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's not quite the same book, but
it's basically the same book.
It's basically the same book.
This is kind of the difference between different translations of the Bible, where it's like it's kind of the same book, maybe a little bit different, but it's
but
the
you
same
can't
book.
ever know that.
Yeah,
that is kind of the stuff they black hole. Same with the real depth that Goj got down into. Same with that one time that the church sided with the orcs. That's just a thing they did.
The what?
Yeah, the church is like I said, concentration of power is a bad thing.
Sure.
Yeah, and
sided with the.
Yes, that is not a joke. The War of the Beast was a wild time.
How did that even happen?
There was a window of time where the church genuinely almost sided with them. Like the Ecclesiarchy at the time said that the Beast is a god. He's an orc warlord sent to be the only hope for humanity, and the only way we win is by joining him. To which he was shot in the mouth.
That can't be
and
real.
There were like a couple of minutes where the Ecclesiarchy had no seat.
That literally cannot be real.
Nope, that's real. That actually happened.
Sure.
Yeah, they are constantly breaking free and then being like reformed and put back in their box.
Sure.
They played a part in that one scheme to try and assassinate Gilman when he woke up. Didn't work out, as you can imagine, but that was another thing.
Yeah, because I can imagine that is a guy from the time that we're inspired by. We cannot let him say literally anything. It will break our power up.
Yeah. The church is the Ecclesiarchy is very, 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 very close to causing problems at several points throughout history. There's a plague of unbelief. That's that one time where somebody blinked and an entire segmentum was taken over by a rogue cardinal, by the way. Not anyone really important.
Yep.
Just a rogue cardinal took a segmentum's navy.
Just a random guy.
Yep. He actually irritated several Space Marines in the process, too.
Yep. Until the one guy who has one more piece of art than Matthew somehow got him.
Yeah. Because he was good.
Yeah, I don't know how Thor has more art than Matthew, and
because Thor is relevant in Matthew's relevant for like 50 years tops.
Fair enough.
Thor
get Matthew some art.
Thor lived a whole life.
Yeah, fair enough.
And even then, he only got one piece of art. So.
Yeah, I've only seen one piece of art.
Exactly. And so they have this history of causing problems that they will very conveniently ignore. Nowadays, they've mostly calmed down quite a bit. They have bigger problems to deal with, and they frankly have so much power it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, our army doesn't have gold-plated lasguns, whatever. We are still doing great in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, our forces are still parrying greater demons with just a prayer.
Yeah, we are just fine. They maintain a church on Earth and another. They have two main bases, kind of. They have one on their own planet of Ophelia, which I think is the third wealthiest planet.
I think you mentioned this, yeah.
And then they also maintain a huge church on Earth with the Emperor
because
present,
of course they do.
We must be by his side.
Yeah.
They maintain tremendous armies. Like, just the sheer manpower they have is only eclipsed by, like, the Mechanicus and, like, the Imperial Guard and Navy. That's it. There are preachers. There's clergymen for almost any task you could need. Do you need a confessor? We got a guy for that. Do you need a basic preacher? We got a guy for that.
Yep.
Do you need missionaries? We got a guy for that. Nurses, doctors. You go to med school, odds are you're winding up with the Ecclesiarchy, not a hospital.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And so that kind of brings an end to the... I don't know how to describe them, really. The probably the biggest part in most people's lives in the Imperium, other than work.
Yeah. I mean... If the Imperium is very Roman themed, this would just be like a kind of an insert Roman Catholic Church.
I don't think they got this hog wild. I don't think they got this hog. I'm not joking.
A little bit.
Every part of imperial life is tinged by them.
The Roman Catholic Church was doing a lot to try and insert the church into every form of, maybe not governance, but the citizen's life. Like, the only reason Christmas is in the middle of December is not because, like, that's the actual date of, like, Jesus' birth, which I think most theologians estimate it was sometime in July.
I was going to say July.
It's like June, July is when he was actually born. The only reason it's in December is because that's when the winter solstice festivals were happening.
Oh, and so they just
said to keep the peace. They told a lot of pagans, you can keep your winter solstice festivals.
Rebrand it.
Mm-hmm. You're now celebrating Jesus. That's why we have Christmas trees. That's a pagan tradition where we just put a bunch of like bright and shiny stuff on a tree because solstice time. Weird. And yeah, so we kept the tradition, rebranded it.
Do you wonder if in like 500 years Black Friday will be a sacrosanct?
I think Black Friday will become its own.
Like, we're getting there.
We're getting there,
right? Like I'm sorry. Hearing you describe just rebrand it and move on. Like I can so easily see.
Look at Easter. In some places, it's becoming less.
It's a Cadbury holiday.
Yeah,
it's a Cadbury.
It's not
holiday.
The rebirth of Christ. It's the Cadbury bunny holiday. It's the egg holiday.
I don't know when the bunny got into this, by the way, because Easter is very. It's
a sign of spring. It's another one of those like solstice things.
Thing?
Yeah, I think.
Wow, a lot of pagan stuff made it.
Actually, no, it's not the solstice. It's the equinox, the spring equinox.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of holidays kind of like go around the solstices, and the equinoxes.
I did not know that.
Because
but honestly, yeah, then it's pretty much the exact same thing. Bar for bar.
Christmas in Japan, where okay, so let's do some juxtaposition here. In the States, and I assume it follows in Britain as well, you'll say Merry Christmas as like kind of like a happy holidays. I mean, happy holidays and Merry Christmas are kind of interchangeable, I think, but it's kind of like a celebration of the season. It's the Christmas season, Merry Christmas, right? In Japan, it's like you only say Merry Christmas on Christmas because it Merry the day, and then you go get KFC and you exchange gifts. And that is a far cry from the winter solstice holiday where we put a bunch of tinsel on trees and shiny things on trees and like dance around because we're pagans and it's a solstice holiday. And it's just weird to see like the transitive property of the holiday, like going
Just
from
moving.
that to this to this to that. And like, no, I see exactly where we could go in like 100 years. It could be just a different thing entirely.
Different thing. It's more deeply involved with KSC. Who knows?
Human culture is weird.
Colonel Sanders becomes the new. Honestly, I can see Santa becoming Sanders.
The rebirth of Christ is Colonel Sanders. That's sacrosanct.
That's not what that word means. It's sacrilege.
Sacrilege. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the word.
Yeah,
sacrosanct is. Yeah, you can't touch it though. It's too holy.
Like its own thing.
Yeah, you touch it and you corrupt it with you.
Yeah, you can't change it.
Yeah.
But honestly, then you've hit the nail on the head. They behave exactly like that. It's very accurate.
Where it's just like we're kind of like it's all in flux. The transitive property of like human culture and religion seems to be changing the Ecclesiarchy over time.
Yep, and now they're in a good place, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Gilliman's put some reforms through, and he has a member of them standing right next to him at all times.
Yeah.
Who basically just serves as
I assume
a siren.
on a leash so he can make sure that they don't go wild again.
No, this person's whole job is just to stand near Gilliman so people don't think he's a heretic.
Oh, okay.
It's a good job. Sweet gig.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's not like they're weak or anything today. They've just, thankfully it's been about 10,000 years of written history now, post-heresy, for people to learn from. And they've learned keep the Ecclesiarchy real close.
Yeah, because otherwise we get another reign of blood.
Yeah. So
I assume Gilliman woke up, saw that, and went, nope.
I don't know if he's read about that one. He hasn't memorized all of it.
Dude, his head can only be so far in his own hands, dude.
Yeah, he's only read. I mean, you just got to read what's relevant.
Yeah.
I think he's still getting caught up. It's mentioned in a couple of books that he's like.
I mean,
reading.
To be fair, he is still mid-Indomitus. I can see him taking his time to read up.
Gilliman basically passed out in the East Blue and woke up today, and he's just like, well, now I have to catch up.
What the is a Wano?
Yeah, yeah. It is a shame.
We're in space now?
I'm not that far. Don't spoil it.
It looks like they got spacesuits.
I am in.
I just remember.
Close your ears.
We went to Japan and I saw them with like spacesuits on, and I'm like, how the hell do we get here?
Yeah, I am at a certain arc that is very good and right before the time skip, I think, and I have been gotten. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
it's around when Magellan shows up. If you know, you know.
450 episodes in, not even halfway.
It feels absurd to say, but it really does get very good at 400 episodes plus. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't name the arc because it is a spoiler, and I honestly get a lot out of it. If you get more out of it if you don't know what the title of the arc is, but it's very good. It's right after. I can name the arc before Amazon Lily. So it's right after that.
Not
nope.
Shibodi Archipelago?
Nope. But yeah, it's right after that, and that arc is the one that got me. That's it. I've lost.
It is so funny. I remember we've been watching this show with our friend, and I remember at the beginning of Shibodi Archipelago, you were like, "Can we just skip this? Just skip this arc. This can't be an important arc." And then we finished it, and you're like, "I'm gotten. I'm now a One Piece fan."
Nope, I was not gotten at the end of that arc. I was gotten specifically at the beginning of the one after Amazon Lily. If you know, you know.
I don't. I'm not. You'll
see. It's very good.
Been watching that, man.
I'm in the one after that. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, 450 episodes in.
But I think we have an unboxing to do.
Do we have an? Yes, we do.
Because the next series of episodes are going to be shot from different locations.
Yes, I was told not to. I was asked nicely in our Q&A not to slam that package and also open it first.
Okay.
Yes.
It is fabric.
It is fabric. Which is, can you see why I was just like, okay, like, pop?
What's going on here?
I think he said...
It is a hat.
There's
Whoa, hold on. Oh no, light breakage has occurred.
Light breakage? Don't say that.
Just very, very light, like a light dusting. Or no, that was its original nature?
Was it that its original nature?
It's hard to describe what's...
Okay, here's the note that came with that. We should probably open this first, because this was... Because
I want to spoil what's in there, but I want to read the note.
Let's not spoil that. Let's open this first, and then I can read the note that goes with this and the big box.
Oh, there's... Okay.
And I know what's in that one. That one excites me.
Dear Americana Pipe Dream customer. Oh, no, this came with... I don't know what that is.
Did that come with that?
Yeah, I think so. What is this? What I'm not...
Well, this one I'm kind of excited for because this is a set of visual aircraft recognition cards.
Oh my god, the things you mentioned?
The things I mentioned.
How did somebody find those?
They were quite common. They handed that out to like people in the army, which we had a lot of.
Tracks.
Yeah. So we had a little bit of surplus of that. Look, I think it's
and they're still like perfectly packaged.
MiG-19.
Of course.
The Farmer. Whoa, I'm gonna enjoy this thing. None of them are relevant to like planes I'd see, but you know.
And it looks like...
Is that like a pocket knife?
It looks like a pocket knife.
That might be a pocket knife.
But it's like perfectly taped and in a way that like...
Is impossible to get out?
You know that like what like good tape jobs can be like...
It's interred.
Perfectly annoying.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you need a good tape job.
We have to undreadnought this knife.
There's no undreadnoughting the knife.
Oh yeah, you undreadnought the knife and the knife dies.
There's no undreadnoughting dreadnoughts, frankly.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think it is a knife. Though you might actually be able to read this. I can't.
That's not a knife. This is a knife. What do you mean? You won't be able to read that.
Oh.
That's a knife?
That is a knife. That's very cool. I can't read it though.
Oh, that's...
Can you read it?
No, that's Chinese.
Oh.
Yeah.
I actually stand a better chance of reading it than
Yeah, you actually do.
Whoa, how did I not recognize it?
Yeah. There's the Japanese character for foot there somewhere.
I see.
Or foot or leg.
Ew. Yeah. I did not take enough Chinese to learn.
No.
Thank you. That's very cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Now, as for the hat and what's in the box. Mm-hmm. It is I, the cool objects man, and I have come with great tidings from my lords. Within this box you will receive a few things of ranging coolness. The first thing I will say is the rocks I have sent. These tie back to when you asked your lightsaber colors, or you were asked for your lightsaber colors, and as you said, purple for Coda being a chunk of amethyst, and yellow for Isyander being golden selenite.
That's what that is.
I also included 2 pieces of red Vivitite, excuse me, since someone said, and I quote, "F it, you both get red." Second, since Isyander seemed interested on where you got dinosaur teeth, and seeing as when I'm sending this, you've just made an orc video, I have sent Isyander a rather valuable teeth. It came from an adult mosasaurus, and as a bonus, I will be sending the key piece to start your own Jurassic Park, a piece of amber with bugs in it.
Whoa. That's dope.
Now on from the rocks I sent, Coda got a cool hat, so I'm sending Isyander a cool hat. I present a World War II GI cold weather hat as I feel it probably gets cold for y'all. Yes, in the winter. In the summer, it's kind of hot and humid.
I actually rock with this, and you may see it in the winter because the set is not temperature controlled.
It will be so funny because we will be pulling the opposite ends of the spectrum at the middle of winter.
It's giving Jurgen. Jurgen.
Yeah, Jurgen. One
Jurgen.
of those.
I don't know why I said Jurgen.
Now this, I send Coda SCP-246, or at least what a shady man in the mall basement called it. Thumbs up emoji. I cleaned it to the best of my ability and the time that I had, and I got it working, but you may need to make room in the budget for a new bulb. With appreciation, the cool objects man. P.S. My girlfriend has a number of quotes about y'all, so I'll include 2. First one, the whine Coda makes when he's uncomfortable is adorable. And the second one, Coda tilts with the game. That's cute. I do remember that. That was during a stream. I was playing Ace Combat, and I was going woo, woo, when I was like banking.
Yeah. Thank you. I love these. These are great.
Now we need to pull SCP-246 out of the box.
Oh, well, I can. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but.
I was lightly spoiled on what SCP-246 is.
Do you know what it is? Don't knock over the lights.
Nope. I will try not to. Begin opening that as I read out the description.
I mean, I know what it is, so you have to open it.
Oh, you know what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's... I also kind of know what it is.
It's 246.
It's SCP-246.
Which should be safe.
It is safe.
Imagine if it's Keter. I don't know how it could be.
If I remember correctly, the box is safe?
No. The projector generally is safe.
The projector is safe. The film reel within it is not.
Oh, is it not?
If I remember correctly. But it is. Hold on. I remember this.
Does this mean I could now do like the like, you know, the old school military style briefings with the projector?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Actually,
I can think of bits.
It's an 8mm film projector.
Also, I need to get whatever bit on 8mm film.
I can for the Super 8 camera I have.
Oh,
that's what this is. If I remember correctly, that's the way that's supposed to go. And then
oh, that's cool.
This is rewind position. It's rewind time, and then that's not rewind position.
Dude, you're gonna love that.
I am gonna love that. I'm gonna record footage on the Super 8 camera I have, and then develop it, and then we can have like a movie night.
But I think that does bring an end to this.
There is
the thing.
Yeah, -01 in there.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week for one of the 4 options. And one of them. Part 2 of the Matthew Sode if you're on Patreon. That's really fun.
The continuation of the Matthew Sode.
And as always, thank you for being you.